Adrian was the first ever conductor who commissioned me a work outside school, and this was, I do remember, an arrangement of Corinne May songs written for the SWS, Singapore Wind Symphony, as part of their SG50 celebrations. I might have been 17, 18 at the time, and it was this very experience that opened my eyes and opened the doors to, just how vast the world is out there, and how much music making there is outside the walls of the school. And inevitably one experience led on to the next, and I guess here I am now as a working musician, and very grateful for the experiences that Adrian has given me and that I've been fortunate to receive in my younger days.
I think he has made me think a lot about my pieces from a separate perspective. Every time we write music from a composer's perspective, we have artistic ideologies and dreams in every piece that we want to write. But then he will always be the one pulling me back to the ground and saying, this is not going to work well because of practical issues, things like this. And he was a really good mentor in that aspect when I worked with him while I was composing primarily for the SWS.
Working with Adrian in that project that he champions the Singapore music and the local composers, to be honest, it was really tiring because actually we have to perform almost, I think, 3 to 4 concerts a year. And you can imagine that we have to learn the pieces that are all new, brand new, written, and no one has ever played that pieces before. So, and there was a concert that actually we featured almost 16 pieces of a new arrangement in the Esplanade Concert Hall. So I think he was kind of like a workaholic, and he's really demanding with the musicians. And also that's because he puts the music before himself. So he can be really demanding at times, but I mean it was really rewarding at the end where you get to perform and bring that music alive. And he always told us that if we don't support or perform our own local music, then who will do that? So we took up that challenge and we stayed with him for the entire time he was with the Singapore Wind Symphony.
Despite these qualities, he had one unshakable and admirable conviction that we Singaporeans needed to champion and promote our own music, because, as he said in his own words, if we didn't do so for ourselves, then who else would? He made it his personal cause upon his return to Singapore in 2011, and that burning passion infected is the right word, many Singaporean conductors and musicians in the years that followed. He saw great potential in Singaporean music and sought to actively commission and perform both new and established local music while he was the music director of the Singapore Wind Symphony.
My fondest memory of Adrian was when we randomly, after one SWS rehearsal, he took me out to eat crabs, flower crabs. And I remember he ordered just plain steamed crab with soy sauce. And I was wondering why not, chili crab, black pepper, salted egg. And then he told me, steamed crab is like the simplest form of crab, but it is the one where you taste the crab the most and you really enjoy the sweetness of it more intensely than any other flavors without it getting crowded around. For me, I still think about this conversation from time to time about how sometimes simplifying things in life will really help us live more contently as well. And it also works as a composer. Like, we always try to overcomplicate composition sometimes, but sometimes writing simple makes the music more effective.
He started to share with me more about his dreams about working with many local composers, getting young people to write music, working with Terrence Wong, working with Rasu, etc. How we need to give young composers the platform to write more. I'm sure dealing with new works is always very controversial for many people. In fact, many conductors are sometimes worried about dabbing into new works because you don't know what you're going to get. When you commission a new work, sometimes it's always, it can be, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get at the end of the day, and you may not like it also. So most people prefer to go on a safer route of knowing what has been tested and what works. Right? So dabbing into new works is always challenging.
Symphonic music by Singaporeans has become much more of a regular feature in today's concerts, by school, community and even professional ensembles than it was a decade ago. Many young Singaporean composers such as Bertram Wee, Lee Jinjun, Shafika Adahar Salahin, Avik Chari, and many more have now become familiar names within and outside the country's music scene. Adrian's lifelong mission in championing Singaporean music was definitely not the sole reason for this phenomenon, but it certainly played an important part in lighting the path forward.
I think the piece May You Achieve Happiness will be a very suitable piece to be performed again as a tribute to Adrian. So we premiered the piece in 2015, and since then it has been one of our favourite pieces to perform. Although it's recognised as the Children's Day song, but I feel that it has such a deep meaning to it, especially the last sentence which says, "Promptly achieve your ambitions so that we'll have our worth in the world." And I'm sure Adrian has achieved his ambition by promoting and supporting the young musicians and composers, both in our community and also presenting them to the world stage.